I'm your host, Vale Chikune. Yes, as we continue, okay, we need to give a name of this series, okay? A woman's con series. I don't know what part we are in right now. I've lost count. I'm sure you have lost count too. But let's just get right into it, okay? I am so glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome. Bring those comments. We're going to feature them because I know you also have something to say, okay? We are here just when we thought that Candace, by now, she would have revealed the person who did this to Charlie Kirk. Well, I got news for you guys. There's nobody yet, okay? One thing she's sure is not Tyra Robinson, but she's not telling us who it is. So let's join in the journey, okay, as we continue. Welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are here. All right, so here is Candace, okay? she's all over the place, but we're going to try to make as much sense as we can out of this, okay? So let's join in. All right, so this is her, whatever else she's saying over here, because, I mean, right now, I don't know what accusation number this is, okay? But we are here to, to have it all. All right, so let's go right away to Mrs. Farmer. Here she is, okay? All right.
Be an idiot. Just be an idiot. It's just this narrative regarding Charlie Kirk is just, I've never seen any situation where they didn't present a shred of proof for their narrative. Not a shred of proof. They won't show us a clear picture of Tyler Robinson on that day, despite all the cameras. That would do a lot. If they just dropped one clear image, right? We would be like, oh, at least he was on campus. Like, at least we can get there. Nothing. They're just like, trust us 1000%. And we're going to make the physics, it's totally, everything's impossible, but just trust us. We're asking for such little. If you actually go back and appreciate how the story has unfolded, we are basically saying we would have taken the bare minimum and maybe accepted some of this narrative. They're giving us nothing and telling us to swallow it whole. We just can't do that, okay? We just cannot do that.
Okay, so isn't this the same thing that Candace is asking us? Candace is operating, trust me, bro. That's where she's operating. Now she's questioning that the authorities are not giving her any evidence. If she could only just get a clear picture of Tara Robinson. The same woman who says it wasn't Tara Robinson who deleted Charlie Kirk. So which is it, Candace Owens? Okay? And even, are they clear pictures of Tara Robinson? Yes, the pictures are there. But is she going to drop the case? Is she going to be like, okay, fine, and now we're done. You guys find the person? It's Tara Robinson. I don't think she's going to do that either. But this is how she, she's pretending like she's asking for something. Okay, so Candace was interviewed by a reporter at CNN. Okay, and she was able to gaslight her audience. The interview did not go well, needless to say. So obviously she had to, put her best foot forward, okay, to sugarcoat how everything went down. So take a look when the reporter from CNN was asking Owens just basic questions, and she was so mad, okay? She got mad. So let's watch Lady Candace right here. This was classic, okay? Here, and this thing went viral, and she's not happy about it. All right, so here she is. All right, where are you, Lady Candace?
I don't need to always say they. Like, it's just a weird, it's like, this is one of these psychology tactics where you're like, who is they? Who is they? And it's like,
because it sounds like you're saying Jews.
Does the word they mean Jews?
When you're talking about Jews, yes.
But if I'm not talking about Jews, then they doesn't mean Jews. When I say they want us to believe this or they want us to believe that and you hear Jews, that's your own derangement, right? If I want to say something about Jews, I'll say it. If I want to say something about Israel, I will say it. If I want to, just like when I want to say something about black people, I'll say it. When I was saying during BLM, they want us to believe, nobody said, do you mean Jews? And so again, it's one of these trash tactics to make people fearful to speak. If I want to say Jews, I will say Jews. I don't fear saying Jews. When I say Zionists run the media, I mean Zionists run the media. People that support the political ideology of Israel run the media. Any other things that I can help clarify?
But are you familiar with this very long-standing trope?
Couldn't give a shit about a trope.
Okay. So there is Candace Owens, okay, trying to wiggle her way, not to explain if they is referring to to the Jews and everything. But remember, the entire time she keeps saying they're not showing us the proof. They're not showing us the truth. They're hiding the truth. But she is not defining to the people who is they. So as a result, we're never going to pin her down. We're never going to find anything as to what she's referring to. So she used that as a way of people are just using the word they just to get away with explaining who is they, right? So let's see if she has found herself on the other end. Okay, so take a look at Lady Candace. Mrs. Farmer out here. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, here we go.
The people on the on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies. Whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, BP? Who is they? Who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about BB trying to establish a narrative.
The crazy.
Okay, so do you see the hypocrisy of this lady? I bet you she doesn't even notice that she does the same exact thing that she's accusing other people. But when people put her feet to the fire, she makes a big deal about it. So it just shows how hypocritical Candace Owens can be. And guys, it is not all, okay? So I was just like, man, can we get something else from Lady Candace? For once. No, not at all. So Candace has been coming after Alex Clark, okay? So Alex works for Turning Point USA as well. She did an interview with, was it New York Times or New York Post? So Candace is not happy that she ended up doing an interview. So this lady ended up finding some clips about Candace Owens also doing an interview, okay? So it's almost like, okay, so you are calling me doing an interview, but you're out here also doing an interview, right? So almost like double standard, which is par for the course when it comes to Candace Owens, okay? So here is, okay. So the article is so long, I'm just going to show you a little bit, then we'll go to the clips showing the hypocrisy of Candace Owens, okay? So this is the it's a tweet that she put out, okay? So I'll just read a little bit, and then you guys can, if you want to read the whole thing, I'll leave the link. When Candace first launched her so-called Davidic crusade to defend Charlie and uncover the truth behind his assassination, she accused me of being unfazed by his death and publicly condemned me for giving an interview to the Wall Street Journal a week later, calling my timing and tone icky and insinuating that I and TPUSA were somehow exploiting Charlie's death to advance our mission. It should be noted that I was the only TPUSA contributor who declined all media for the first week. Normal people don't respond to death the way they did, she attested. So this is Candace coming after Alex Clark, and yet the clip that I just showed you, that was Candace Owens sitting doing an interview with CNN. So it was just like, okay, so you accusing other people doing an interview, but yet behind the scenes, you are also sitting down doing interviews. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, so if somebody was to sit down and have an interview, okay, you know what I mean? So what? But if you have an issue with that, then why are you the one also finding yourself doing an interview? You see what I'm saying? So it was just like, man, this lady, she can be a hypocrite. So here is the text of her calling out Alex Clark for doing interviews, okay? Take a look at this.
You in many ways like a father figure, right? Hey, Fed, what's going on here? And I said, maybe he did, because I was in this aggrieved stage, and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. And moral thing would be for us to behave like Turning Point USA employees. Alex Clark calling me out, you kidding me? Should I do what she did? And it would have been more moral for me to invite the Wall Street Journal a literal week after Charlie is murdered to photograph me in high boots standing over his memorial site at the office, like the outside memorial vigil where people mourn and drop off flowers and gifts, because that's exactly what Alex Clark did. And I thought it was icky. I thought it was gross, but I didn't say anything because everybody mourns in their own way. But I got to stop saying that. I got to stop saying everybody grieves in their own way. This is the article that was published on September 18th, so we can assume that they at least photographed her and interviewed her 1 day earlier, right? That's being charitable. So this was done latest, again, 1 week after Charlie was assassinated. Again, take a look at this. Pull that up. I'm going to pull this photo up because I just want to look at the photo. This is literally her being shot in front of the gifts that people are dropping off. I don't understand how anyone would let this go out and think that it's okay if they knew Charlie. I couldn't even speak to the press that week. I still haven't spoken to the press about Charlie Kirk, actually. Haven't even given one interview about Charlie Kirk because it felt icky to me. I'm just focused on investigating his murder. Anyways, I want to read a couple of clips that are going viral right now. And CNN has cut these clips because they think they're embarrassing to me. So there's this young woman. She's the same age as me. Elle Reeve is her name. And I'm going to also be clear. I got very testy in this interview because it was a couple of days after Charlie was killed. First interview I was given.
Oh, you interviewed a couple days after Charlie was murdered. Interesting.
Because it was a couple of days after Charlie was killed. First interview I was giving.
So let's get this straight. You came at Alex Clark for giving an interview with the Wall Street Journal a few days after Charlie Kirk's assassination, but you did the same exact thing with CNN. And while we're at it, let's end on this note. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Alex Clark's outfit. She came at her for her boots. Like, what was she supposed to wear? A black strappy toe sandal? You would have came after her for that.
You see? Do you guys see this? So I'm thinking, I'm like, so Candace, like what's the deal here? Okay? You are doing the same exact thing, you accusing somebody. So right now, because she's on a crusade, right? Everybody who works for Turning Point USA, you are on the chopping board. Okay, you are on a chopping board as far as Candace Owens is concerned. So she's coming after Alex Clark for doing an interview with Wall Street Journal. The very same Candace who is doing an interview with CNN. So it's okay for Candace Owens to do an interview with CNN, but it's not okay for Alex Clark to do an interview with CNN. And she had the audacity to claim that the interview she did with CNN was not to talk about Charlie Kirk. Okay? So you tell me if this interview, Candace Owens was not talking about Charlie Kirk. According to her, the interview was just about me to talk about my book. Oh my goodness. Guys, can you hear this? Are you hearing this? This is where we are at, okay? But remember, Erica is asking like, okay, some grace. So is Candace Owens showing grace to anybody right now? Oh, this is just about her, okay? Greetings, Damriz Media. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the channel. Thank you for being here. I receive the blessings in Jesus' name. All right, guys. So let's continue, okay? As you come in, don't forget to hit the likes up, okay? To fight the algorithm monster and the candy rights, because they're coming for you, girl. They're accusing me of receiving 7K, okay? So hit the thumbs up to fight the candy rights. Okay, so now, so she said that she was on an interview with CNN talking about the book, okay? So this is a clip of the interview. Apparently, this interview is available, but it's behind the paywall. You have to be like, a special subscriber to CNN, which I am not, but we do appreciate this. Finally, somebody put the feet to the fire as far as Lady Candy is concerned, okay? So let's watch this. Here we go, guys.
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law
I have
enforcement?
leaks.
Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world, and we know how stories get shut down.
So, have you seen Candace Owens squirming in her seat? I was just like, go girl. So this is Candace Owens, okay? Simple questions. She's saying, oh, those were the Discord. Oh, no, those were text messages according to the indictment. And her, being a journalist as she is, trying to find out who did this to Charlie Kirk, did not read the indictment. But she's out here summoning her people, telling them lies. And the simple things that are just there, publicly available, by the way, and she has no clue about it. So this is also, this is another thing that was exposed with Candace Owens. Right now, she was being interviewed, right? This interview, she's accusing somebody else of doing an interview. And according to here, clear, they're talking about Charlie Kirk, okay? I'm sure they've talked about her book, but she posed this interview as if, oh, no, she scheduled an interview. It was just going to talk about her book, not about Charlie Kirk. No, this is not what happened here, okay? That's number one. And number two, so whenever you're watching Candace Owens, okay, she shows that she's live, but she is not live. That the program is pre-recorded, so they just present it to the audience as if it's live. So it's produced. So everything, she's reading, she's doing everything. It's so concise and everything. Now that she's here, she's being just asked basic questions. Now she has to respond. She has to back up her claim. Notice what she did. She could not even answer. She could not even respond. Simple thing. What is the evidence she doesn't have? So she wasn't happy about this, and this thing went viral. Okay? But she find a way to weasel herself out of this situation. Oh, CNN, they were trying to do this. No, she failed miserably. Okay? And I was just like, this is what happens when you're out here peddling lies, all in the name of, quote unquote, defending, Charlie Kirk. Okay? So no. If she has evidence, we want the evidence. So this is the text messages, okay? Take a look at this. All right. Okay, so here is, man, it's too, all right, I'll read it to you guys, okay? So here is another clip from CNN interview where she asked me what I mean when I say, quote unquote, they. Please excuse my language. This was only a couple days after Charlie was murdered, okay? I was not in the mood, for stupid. So the reason why she's saying this is because she knows the interview did not go well. Okay? Then she said, it's so easy and you are beyond pathetic for trying this. See my email below about CNN. So she's going back to Alex Clark, right? Because Alex Clark just put that notice, the one I showed you, saying like, okay, so you were coming after me for being on Wall Street Journal, and yet you went to do an interview with CNN. Instead of her just, moving right along, she's trying to find a way. Oh, no, it was just soon after Charlie Kirk, so I wasn't in the mood. That's why the interview did not go well. No, and yet she said the interview was already scheduled. And then she's telling us that she wasn't doing anything. She was just hunkering down. You see how this lady, she's just being caught with lies after lies, but her people cannot see it for what she is. So while this, so another thing that took place was Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro was interviewed by Megyn Kelly. Okay, for some reason, Megyn Kelly is finding hard to, just call out Candace Owens. Okay, not for the sake of calling her out, but if what she's doing it does not match journalistic standards, and she's going way someplace else, it's par for the course. So notice the interaction, how things went down with Ben Shapiro. So Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly did not see eye to eye, okay? But right now, it seems like, Megyn Kelly is just giving excuse after excuse on behalf of Candace Owens. I don't understand why she's just a mother. Oh, it's just this. But Megyn Kelly doesn't do that to anybody else. She puts, she gets, she goes after people, rightfully also, as a journalist, in a journalistic way, is what I mean, right? The same thing, Tucker Carlson, right? She goes hard at people because he's a journalist. But when it came to Nick Fuentes, it was all kid gloves. So when people are coming after these people, it's not like it's just because, it's just like, no. You guys, you go hard when it's the other side. Now that you have these issues happening within your camp, you keep quiet. It shows you guys as hypocrites. So are you truly after the truth, or you're just here to protect the tribe? And these people, it's this saying they believe no enemies to the right. So it's almost like no enemies inside the camp. So when they're out here pointing out, oh, the left this, the left that, it's just like, you guys, fine, the left are doing this, but you guys are also doing this. So why are you out here pointing fingers? You're doing the same thing, right? So it's hypocritical. So let's watch this clip between Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro, okay? I'm so glad that you guys are here. Welcome. Let's continue. Here we go.
Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
staff knows anything about Candace Owens, I found it hard to believe. Now, the actual segment played like this.
I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
like I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch Candace's show.
I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that that friendship should not, in our business, I think it's important. Listen, friendship should not trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Okay. A person could say that Ben Shapiro...
Yes. So, correct. You see what I'm saying? So Megyn Kelly is out here playing dumb, acting like she has no idea what's happening. No, she knows what's happening, okay? She, she's on social media herself. She's a journalist. Candace Owens podcast is #1 in the world. So she has people who work for her. Everybody knows what Candace Owens is doing. You don't have to like it, but you cannot be claiming ignorance that you don't know, especially somebody like Megyn Kelly. I don't buy it. I can understand somebody who's not on social media. You'd be like, oh, I have no idea what Candace is up to, right? Whether you support her or you don't, but you know what's going on, what's happening. Because it's not like Candace Owens just did one episode and then she's off to the sunset, okay? I mean, I have lost count right now, guys. How many of this, the so-called episode, whatever investigation that she's on, right, that she has done. So for Megyn Kelly to come out to say like, okay, she doesn't know, that's a lie. I don't buy it. And then furthermore, she went on to say like, oh, I'm not the mother of the internet. No, whoever said that she's the mother of the internet? She's in this business. She's in the business of bringing information to our audience. She's in the business of offering critiques. She's in the business of, she's a journalist. That's who she is. So for her to pretend like she doesn't know anything that's going on, it's a lie. Not only that, Megyn Kelly was friends with Charlie Kirk. Megyn Kelly, I think she's also been on Turning Point, whatever, people are going to campuses. She's done those things, right? And people have asked her, not even once. One of the students asked her about Candace Owens, so she responded. So for her to be playing dumb like she doesn't know what's going on, I don't buy it. So here is Megyn Kelly, okay? debunking what Ben Shapiro said, okay? But we have receipts. So I'm like, okay, Megan, are you like, what's going on over here? So for her to pretend like, okay, she doesn't, I'm sure she's not going to watch all the stuff that Candace Owens doing, that I believe in. But she has the general idea of what's going on. So watch this, what Megan Kelly said about Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, okay? Here we go. All right.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard, and I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy. And I have since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim. And in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica Kirk and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard that point. But she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk, and she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't. So thank you for that question.
Okay. So let's test that, okay? Because just like, where have you been, Megan Kelly? Where have you been, Megan Kelly? Is what we're asking out here. So that's what she said over here, that Candace has not made that claim, okay? So let's watch this, if Candace did not make that claim.
Semester, which would be in the fall. They would go backwards. You don't instantly get approved for an event at Turning Point USA. It reeks of an inside job. That is how I feel. And the more that we learn about the story, the little changes that happen, the inexplicable things that we're learning, it becomes clearer and clearer that somehow at some layer, at some stage, Turning Point USA is involved because they're giving us no clarity. Why? Why did you semester, which would be in the fall?
So she said at some point, at some stage, she believes Turning Point USA is involved. So the question that I ask to you is this: who is in charge of Turning Point? Who is in charge of Turning Point? Because according to Megan Kelly, she's not aware of Candace Owens saying anything of such. Okay, that Candace Owens never said anything. Okay, in regards to Erica Kirk. Okay, so here is another Candace Owens. Okay.
If they knew Charlie, I couldn't even speak to the press that week. A literal week after Charlie is murdered, to photograph me in high boots standing over his memorial site at the office, like the outside memorial vigil where people mourn and drop off flowers and gifts, because that's exactly what Alex Clark did. And I thought it was icky. I thought it was gross. I didn't say anything because everybody mourns in their own way, but I got to stop saying that. I got to stop saying everybody grieves in their own way. This is the article that was published on September 18th, so we can assume that they at least photographed her one day and interviewed her one day earlier, right?
Okay. So this is Alex Clark is also an employee of Turning Point USA. Okay. So these are the people who are getting the ire of Lady Candace. So Megan Kelly hasn't heard anything about Candace Owens saying, attacking anybody, even, what's her name? Erica Kirk. So this is Candace Owens. Okay. Take a look at this, guys. Okay.
I had a phone call with someone, by the way, who's extremely close to this current administration. And they said, completely offhandedly, we were not even really discussing Charlie, but then they said, something that's really weird. I was at Charlie's memorial. She said, when did Turning Point become so faith-focused? She's like, I remember, obviously, Charlie always spoke about his evangelical faith. She's like, but when you guys were running around starting all these Turning Point chapters, it was all about free markets and capitalism. And she was like, and I was at the rally, and it was suddenly faith, 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 pastor, 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 pastor. And I said, that is actually interesting. That is true, that it just kind of started. And then it was almost the biggest thing about Turning Point. It's really interesting to consider that. Turning Point suddenly got super de-duper faithful with what I would say is an interesting cast of characters, the wrong characters. Okay, Rob McCoy leading that frontier, as we know. What people don't know publicly is that Lance Wallnau was working with him. Okay, he was intimately involved, and more importantly, he was financially involved. Sources within Turning Point's faith department tell me that Lance was running the show behind the scenes through funding, that he put a ton of money into Turning Point USA faith operations. Now, I guess a better way for me to state this, because I want to be super clear here, is that Lance Wallnau, who is from a military family and who is saying that he believes in infiltration as a means to climb mountains and overtake society, however he just described that.
You gotta laugh, okay? You absolutely got to laugh. All right, so this is because Megyn Kelly has never heard Candace Owens making these accusations, okay? So we have receipts. All right, so here's another one, guys. Okay, here we go.
Please tag Megyn Kelly and TPUSA in the comments.
He said to me last week, we had a conversation. She said, after he died, I went in and I started going through his diaries. I was reading the last few pages and everything else. She said, I started reading him. She said, he left me the plans for 2028. He left me the budgets for the future. She said, he left this for me. And she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, TPUSA is in really good hands, I think, with her.
What do you hope to achieve for Charlie and for the country?
Oh my goodness. All of his wildest dreams for this organization and more. He left me a blueprint and all of his journals, but more so.
But wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalized that succession plan outside of like a diary? Maybe call one of his many lawyers? Maybe formalize it in a will? Because that's what you're supposed to do if you are thinking about dying and you need to make a plan. You make a will. I'm sure he had a will. But no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read. Like, for sure. That's what it feels like. Do you agree? I think their thought process was, it will be much easier for us to control the spirit of Charlie Kirk than the actual living, breathing Charlie Kirk. I am telling you guys, when we go back and we look at the calendar and we see that request went out in mid-July, it drives me insane. It just screams at me that this was an inside job, okay? It reeks of an inside job. That is how I feel. And the more that we learn about the story, the little changes that happen, the inexplicable things that we're learning, it becomes clearer and clearer that somehow at some layer, at some stage, Turning Point USA is involved because they're giving us no clarity. I want you to imagine you get a phone call, okay, from whoever saying that the person that you love most in this world and the person that you are married to has been shot. How fast are you getting off that phone? You're staying on the phone. You're asking questions. There's a series of questions that need to be answered. You scream. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Where is he? Where do I go? Blah, 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 blah. Is he okay? So there are a litany of questions that would be asked. And please don't tell me that this is some situation where that wouldn't be the circumstance. And I am so tired of the you wouldn't know what you would do. I do know that you're asking a series of questions.
I need clarification because every day that goes on, it feels to me like Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up. And there's no other way to say this. There's no other way. I don't care who at Turning Point tweets. I literally do not care. I will breathe fire on all of you. I know how these events work. Why was this event confirmed so quickly when it was requested so late? Answer these questions. I need answers to these questions to understand what happened on that day.
Be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you because I know this isn't right. And there's no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first. And I'm going to tell you guys, Charlie had a vision. Charlie Kirk did in fact know that Turning Point was going to be the death of him, and I approve of that. He also knew that I was the only person who was going to step up to defend him after he was gone. That sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
So there you have it, guys. So I don't understand where Megyn Kelly has been at, okay? So Candace Owens, the only thing that she hasn't done was just to say Erica Kirk. She hasn't said Erica Kirk, but she has implicated Turning Point USA. And who is in charge of Turning Point USA is Erica Kirk. So you cannot tell me, like just right now, right? Who is in charge of the administration is Donald Trump. So you're just going to implicate the entire administration, but not Donald Trump. Does that work that way? The buck stops with who? The buck stops with the president. The buck stops with Erica Kirk, because she's in charge of Turning Point USA. So Candace Owens is not happy with the succession plan of Turning Point USA. Who took over Turning Point USA is Erica Kirk. The other people were already working there. Erica Kirk is the one who took over. Candace Owens says no. She's not ready for any succession plan. Candace Owens says, like, Mike McCoy said he called Erica to tell Erica what happened to Charlie Kirk, right? And Erica Kirk came out to confirm on Fox News that, yes, Mike McCoy had called her to tell Erica about Charlie Kirk's situation, okay? But here's Candace Owens. It says, oh, no. If somebody received that phone call, this had to have happened. She wasn't there, but here she is. So this idea of Candace Owens did not accuse Erica Kirk, I'm like, are we children? Who else is she accusing? In fact, Candace Owens has named everybody at Turning Point USA but Erica. And yet Erica is the one who's in charge of Turning Point USA. So all these other people, you know what I mean? Erica knows and they're still working there. Erica hasn't fired them. Charlie never fired them. They still work there. And they are the ones who, you know, deleted Erica's husband. So Erica is not firing these people. Erica is still employing these people. Erica is still paying these people. And yet these people, according to Candace Owens, did betray her husband. Does that make sense to you guys? And she actually put out a tweet to say Charlie Kirk was betrayed by everyone. That's what she said. Charlie Kirk was betrayed by everyone. So the question to ask, does everyone include Erica Kirk? Because she never made any exception. Okay, so this is the tweet. Don't worry about the gag order in the Charlie Kirk curse. I plan to violate it on the world's behalf. The things I have discovered this past week are enough to burn the house down. Yes, Charlie was betrayed by everyone. And notice, she actually put a full stop to make sure by everyone, everybody should see. So the question to ask Megyn Kelly, does everyone include Erica Kirk? Does it include Erica Kirk? So to say that Ben Shapiro was wrong, it's actually a lie. Candace Owens is not a fool. She's doing this on purpose. She's accused everybody but Erica Kirk. And we do know, if you guys have watched movies, if something happens to a spouse, who is the first suspect they go to? If it's a husband, they're going to go to the wife. It's the wife, they're going to go to the husband. That's just how it works. So there's no way Candace Owens can accuse everybody else who's around Charlie Kirk and then not accuse Erica Kirk. No. And the idea that Candace Owens has defended Erica Kirk is also a lie. Okay? People were asking, like, how come you're not saying anything about Erica Kirk? Because, you know, the Erica Kirk hugging the vice president with her hands in, you know, the vice president's head, that wasn't a good look. But like, Candace, you always talk about everybody else. How come you haven't said anything else about Erica Kirk? What's up with that issue? That's what it is. It's not about Candace Owens, quote unquote, defending Erica Kirk. No, she's just doing it on purpose. Talk about everybody else but Erica Kirk. But by implication, Erica Kirk is also implicated. Yeah. Shireen Wade, good to see you. Yes, we're here. This one is for you guys. Yeah, so no. We're going. Oh, look at you. You change your profile. Okay. Nothing she says make any sense to me. Yes. I didn't know you have cards. What's the name of your card? All right. Janet, 16803. Greetings. Candace is very condescending. That's Lady Candace for you, man. You know? Good to see you, my sister. But the little that I have seen, Candace is not defending Erica. No, Candace is not defending Erica at all. I'm even surprised, like Megyn Kelly would say that. Like, no, Candace has not defended Erica. She was forced to say something about Erica because even her own people were like, wait a minute. You know how Erica be like, okay, you know, she's not grieving right. She has fake tears, all these other things. But Candace is talking about everybody else but Erica. So it was just like, something is not right over here, okay? And if you're accusing the people around Charlie Kirk that they had something else to do with it, it will actually be a logical thing to ask Erica as well. Like, okay, where were you? What else do you know? What information do you have? You know what I mean? If she's serious about it. So, yeah, we are not fools out here. Yeah, but you know how Candace does it, right? When she wants to implicate somebody, she will implicate somebody because she absolutely does not care. So, welcome, guys. I'm so glad that you're here. So, let's watch a little bit of Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly, the exchange on Tucker Carlson. So, I don't understand why Megyn Kelly feels the need to carry water for Candace Owens, to carry water for Tucker Carlson. If Tucker is wrong, call it out. If Candace is wrong, call it out. Even if Ben Shapiro is wrong, call him out as well. But this idea of her wanting just to be, like, oh, no, I don't want to disturb the apple cart. I'm like she just sounds like a hypocrite to me, if you ask me. Because anybody, Steve Wonder can even see, okay, that no, this is not right. All right, take a look at this, guys. Okay, here we go.
situations. We get along great. I think I saw that Tucker talked about how we were at Charlie's memorial in the vice president's box together, and he's correct. I mean, we saw each other, we said hello, we talked, it was very friendly, and all of that. And it's also true that a couple of days after Charlie's murder, he reached out and he called me and he said, listen, I know that we're at odds, and we've been at odds for a number of reasons, mainly political. I mean, again, on a personal level, I'd go fishing with Tucker anytime. The real question is, for me, I got into this business because I care about the ideas and I care about the ideals. And so when you're determining what is conservatism, what should the future of America look like, and where do you draw the lines, those are the questions that I need to answer in my job. For me, my business is really not about friendship. I have lots of friends, people who I love, with whom I disagree on politics and don't believe they should be leaders in the conservative movement, for example. And that to me is the real question. In any case, Tucker reached out. He said, we've had a bunch of disagreements, and what if we could put those aside and align toward the DSA in particular, is what he mentioned. And I said, Tucker, you're totally right. Let's do that. That would be great. In fact,
the TSA?
The DSA. The Democratic Socialists
Why
of
the
America.
TSA? How did that bring you together?
The Democratic Socialists of America. And the reason
I know.
Yes, and the reason I'm taking
TSA only divides people.
Is because, yes, the reason I'm taking out my phone is because I don't just, I like to evidence what I'm saying with, actual evidence. So I texted him, and the text exchange was very nice. I mean, here's what the actual text exchange went like after the call. So I texted him, and I said, thanks so much for calling. It means the world. It truly does. Should we do a show together, talking about the DSA threat, Democratic Socialists of America threat, and orienting in the same direction? Happy to do whatever it takes to bring everyone back together for the fight that matters. And Tucker then wrote back, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to spend the next week or two thinking about how to be most effective. The country is clearly on the brink. I reached out repeatedly. After that, nothing happened. And again, I thought it was a good idea at the time. I think I felt differently after I saw what he did with Nick Fuentes, and after he proceeded, in my opinion, to spend the subsequent weeks doing literally nothing to fight the left. I say this with sadness because Tucker used to be, I think, a deeply important part of the conservative push to win. The number of times that Tucker Carlson has mentioned Zohran Mamdani since October 5th on his show is once. And it was in the context of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson talking about the appeal of Zohran Mamdani. Just by way of contrast, not because I'm a perfect representative here, but because you've talked about Zohran Mamdani a lot. A lot of us have. Since October 5th, I did 17 separate shows on Zohran Mamdani, including 4 in the last week before the election. Okay, because when you're orienting against the left, you really should orient against the left.
Okay, so a lot in there.
So this is Ben Shapiro explaining to Megyn Kelly the differences, the issues that he's having with Tucker Carlson. So Megyn was able to host Tucker Carlson, was able to host Ben Shapiro as well, right? So Ben Shapiro is having an issue with Tucker Carlson because he had Nick Fuentes on, but when he had Nick Fuentes on, never pressed on the issues as far as Nick Fuentes is concerned. So Ben is like, okay, so if we're out here, why are we just going to roll a red carpet for Nick Fuentes, welcoming him to the right-wing party, whatever else, to the MAGA club, all that, and yet this guy has all this baggage, and you didn't even try to, conduct the interview as a journalist would. I watched the interview. To be fair, yes, Tucker Carlson just let Nick Fuentes say whatever else he wanted to say, and there was no pushback, there was no challenge there in any way, shape, or form. So that's what Ben Shapiro is arguing against. But Megyn Kelly, once again, she wants to, I see, just playing down the whole thing. So just like, man, this is what that's why they're calling a civil war, right? The MAGA civil war that's going on. I'm like, okay, MAGA, I'm out here, I'm just going to eat popcorn. Okay, because if you have people within your camp and they are compromised, but you decide to keep them, you decide to look the other way, this is exactly what happens. And if you happen to be a Christian, when you see those things, that's your camp, you see those things, but you look the other way because, he gave us Trump. He gave us the Supreme Court justice. He overturned the so-called Roe v. Wade, okay? And then you compromise on the truth. This is what happens, okay? So I'm like, all right. I'm laughing, guys, okay? To me, all this is just entertainment. All these other things could just be avoided if people could be principled, speak the truth, and not showing partiality. Just be honest about it. If these are the games that you're playing, that's what happens, okay? So we are here for it all, guys, okay? All right, okay, so we are, Chloe needs to subscribe to Berea Babes, okay? Our first cut on the show. How about that? Chloe has joined in. He needs to join in on Berea Babes. So that was the Ben Shapiro situation. So now Candace Owens is going back to the text messages. The text messages that Charlie Kirk exchanged between her. I'm like, why are you putting these text messages here? And this was before Candace Owens worked for PragerU, before Candace Owens worked for Daily Wire. So now out here showing that her and Charlie Kirk were BFF. So if Candace Owens was best friend with Charlie Kirk, she was nowhere to be found at the memorial. She never attended the funeral. And right now, all these other people have been invited to go do a program at the Charlie Kirk show. Candace Owens hasn't been invited. They are going to campuses doing, after Charlie Kirk has been, since he died. Candace Owens is not on the schedule. It's all these other people that Candace Owens is accusing. They are the ones on schedule. So now it's, I think Candace has found a way for her to jab at Ben Shapiro. Because I think legally she cannot do that. But because of these other things, it's giving her a cover. So now she's going in to show us the text messages that transpired between Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. According to Candace Owens, Charlie never liked Ben Shapiro. So she's out here trying to bring that all out. So let's take a look. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this, because this is a lot. And once again, George Farmer, where are you? Okay. Mr. Farmer. Oh my gosh. All right, fine. Let's take a look at this, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, it was a headline. Ben Shapiro's YAF launches smear campaign against Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Hey, Charlie, wherever you are, it's happening again. It's just a smear campaign. I don't know why, but this is what Ben does. And it is also interesting that when I was telling you that Ben called Charlie and he was lamenting the fact that Charlie and I had this friendship and warning him that he shouldn't have him, Charlie felt like Ben was like throwing down like slave owner vibes. And he was just like, he thinks I like own you or something, but I'm going to show you the text messages because otherwise you'll say it didn't happen. Here we go. This was, again, everything. Ben was going on people's shows and talking down about me and Charlie. And he said, you're bigger than Ben now. I'm walking into the White House yesterday. I realized that. I said, I know. He hates it. And he said, we just have to treat him like noise. He wants you to punch down to him. His respect amongst movement fighters is quite low. I feel like that's relevant right now to what Ben's doing. He wants to egg on this fight because he's lost a certain bit of respect. And then Charlie goes on, you got in his head, which is terrific. The Ben thing involves me more than he wants to admit. And then we went on, and this is the same conversation. He knows that Jon Snow, he's using a Game of Thrones reference, is stronger as the dragons fly higher. And he said it pisses him off. And he's sending his incestuous brother to go try and kill us. It's worse. He views you as my slave, 100%. Control her is what he really was saying to me when he called. So this has been, and by the way, like I said, I have hundreds of these messages. And so you have to imagine being in my position when you see someone who did everything.
So before she continues, right? I don't doubt that those messages are legit. But wasn't she the same one who was saying she could not trust the messages between Tara Robinson and whatever the partner because there were no dates there? So the messages that she's shown us, there were no dates there. There's no dates there. So she doesn't want to believe the FBI messages because there were no dates there. But she wants us, as the audience, to believe that the text messages between Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk are authentic, even though she's not showing us the dates of those text messages. Do you see how hypocritical this woman is? So let's continue.
Everything he could to kind of stop the rise of Charlie Kirk, now trying to struggle session Meghan, who was actually a very good friend to Charlie. Charlie deeply respected her. And towards the end, obviously, she took a very principled position on telling the truth about what he was going through. And Charlie dies. And suddenly he's like, I care about this evil that could be happening. Candace is investigating who killed her friend. And she shouldn't be doing that. I mean, there's no way to spin it. What is his suggestion here? That me asking questions about Turning Point USA somehow means that I'm blaming Erica, who wasn't even working for Turning Point USA when Charlie died, because now she's the CEO? Of course he doesn't believe that. And it is just, to me, it is truly so gross to do this to a person that you know you tried to block. And you just, now that he's dead, I guess you want to sort of rewrite history. That's what you're trying to rewrite history and pretend.
This woman, guys, I've just shown you the videos, okay? Her accusing Turning Point USA. So the thing is, if Candace Owens believed that something was up at Turning Point USA, where were these videos before Charlie Kirk died? Because she believed all those people, Tyler Boyer, Mike McCoy, Alex Clark, what is his name, Andrew Covid, all of those people are evil or bad. How come she never said anything to Charlie Kirk? given that she was the best friend to Charlie Kirk? How come Candace Owens never warned Charlie Kirk while he was alive and well breathing to warn him? By the way, you are surrounded by snakes. By the way, you are surrounded by people who want to take advantage of you. She never did that. So Candace wants us to believe that Charlie Kirk was so naive that he had Mike McCoy as the chief of staff and he was just a bad hire. Charlie Kirk could not see that. Andrew Covey, the spokesperson, Charlie Kirk couldn't see that. Alex Kirk couldn't see. So all these people, literally everybody around Turning Point USA, Candace Owens has accused. Beginning with Charlie Kirk's pastor. Okay? So all these people, Charlie did not even see, did not know. So when did Candace Owens find out that these people were evil? If Candace Owens loved Charlie Kirk, where was her warning when Charlie Kirk was alive about the snakes that surrounded Charlie Kirk's organization at Turning Point USA? When I tell you that this woman is just making things as she goes along, it's amazing, okay? So the other thing also that you guys have to take to consider is this. All those text messages that Candace Owens believed that Ben Shapiro was an evil man, and Charlie Kirk did not like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro did a program on Charlie Kirk's show with Charlie Kirk a day before he died. So if Charlie Kirk believed that Ben Shapiro was a monster, was this evil man, why did Charlie Kirk invite Ben Shapiro on his show? And I suppose Erica Kirk is aware that Ben Shapiro is a monster. Ben Shapiro donated $1 million after Charlie Kirk died. If Erica knows that Ben Shapiro is a monster, how come Erica has not returned that $1 million back to Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro showed up at Charlie Kirk's show after Charlie Kirk died. Erica Kirk is in charge of Turning Point USA. So you're telling me Erica Kirk is not aware that Ben Shapiro is a monster. So you allowed this guy who is a monster to come on your husband's show? You are in charge of Turning Point USA? You received $1 million from him. You do not return it back? And how much did Candace Owens give, by the way? Because she's number one and she's balling for sure. So this is how you know. And not only that, here's the kicker of it all, guys. Okay? If you don't take anything else but this. After all that Candace Owens has said about Ben Shapiro, showing us the text messages, do you know what Candace Owens did? Do you know what Candace Owens did? This woman went and worked for Ben Shapiro. I repeat, after Candace Owens shared all those text messages between her and Charlie Kirk, Candace still went and worked for Ben Shapiro. So she went to work for Ben Shapiro fully aware, 100% aware that this Ben Shapiro is a monster. He doesn't want our career to grow. He's jealous of me and Charlie Kirk. She still went and worked for Ben Shapiro. So what are we supposed to believe here? Why did she go and work for Ben Shapiro if she believes all these things about Ben Shapiro? You see what I'm saying? So this lady is nothing but trouble. Is nothing but trouble.
And that you're his ardent defender. Now, another point that I'd like to make is the stunning hypocrisy again and again when you stop and you consider that he's pressing Meghan and referring to this as an evil, the thing that I never said or did. But this is the same Ben Shapiro that roots the destruction of Gaza on. He supports and congratulated Randy Fine, who has literally tweeted laughing at photos of dead Palestinian babies. But I guess Tucker Carlson speaking to Nick Fuentes is just so much worse than celebrating, and not just celebrating, interviewing a man who is committing an actual genocide, okay? That's not up for debate. That's what they're trying him for. Bibi Netanyahu is committing a genocide, and Ben Shapiro sat down with him last month. And do you guys think he pressed Bibi Netanyahu on the point of a genocide? I don't understand how you could just go out there with your hair on your chest and you're just like, yeah, how dare you? How dare you not make a comment, Meghan, about Tucker Carlson? How dare you not make a comment? I care now about Charlie Kirk now that he's dead. I care about him and what's happening. Candace trying to find out who killed him. That's evil. You're lying. You lie when you have nothing.
So, you see, this is what it was all about. It's always the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. Now it's Bibi. we know the war has been going on since October 7. Now the war is over, right? So if Candace Owens believes that Bibi is committing genocide, how come she didn't press about Ben Shapiro long before Charlie Kirk died? To be like, okay, Ben Shapiro, because that's not the first time that Ben Shapiro interviewed, what's his name? The Prime Minister. That wasn't the first time, okay? So the fact still remains the same. So that's even making it worse. If you still believe, those guys are out there, it's the genocide, right? When the war started October 7, Candace Owens was still working for Daily Wire. How come she never quit? To be like, you know what, Ben, what's his name is committing genocide, whatever, I'm quitting. That's not what happened. She was fired. Okay? So this lady, she's just saying these things now because she's on the other side. When she was there, this is not what she was doing. So it just shows like, you know what, no. And also, this whole idea, she's on a quest to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. Okay? So what does Bibi committing so-called genocide got to do with who killed Charlie Kirk? You see what I'm saying? And this idea, this is what they say. She believes that they're committing genocide. No, by definition, it is not genocide. Okay? It is war. If you're going to call what's happening in Gaza genocide by the IDF, then it's the same thing should apply to America when they went to Iraq, when they went to Afghanistan. Okay? So, but she's not an honest broker to have this conversation. She's just saying this because she's able to jab at Ben Shapiro. So that's the problem with her. To me, I was just like, okay, you said all these things about Ben Shapiro, but you still work for her. You still went and worked for him, for Ben Shapiro. Sorry. What I say, we believe Candace has 100, and she has actually got class. I'm not big fan. I just don't see. Well, I'm also confused. The one thing that I truly believe is all the things that Candace Owens is saying, she actually believes it. That makes it very dangerous. There's people who say things because they want to get something. They're just lying. They're just pretending just to get whatever. You know what I mean? Like eventually they'll stop. But because Candace truly believes what she is saying, that makes her dangerous. There's one of the guy, he's a body language forensic expert. You know what I mean? Like he testifies in court, body language and everything. Did analyze Candace Owens, and that's what he concluded. And he's a professional. And to me, I actually believe, I'm like, yeah, this lady believes the things that she's saying. That's very dangerous. Okay. Phantom, good to see you. According to Candace, Charlie Kirk is naive. A grifter says, exactly. Clearly so, yeah. That's the only, yeah. Either Charlie Kirk was so naive, didn't know what was going on, two-faced, who is talking about his friends behind his back, and he's telling all these things to Candace Owens. And by the way, guys, that was before Charlie Kirk got married in 2018. Okay? Before Candace Owens also got married. So, instead of Candace Owens, so let's grant that's exactly what Charlie Kirk felt in 2018. Okay? Let's grant all that is true, Candace. But that was in 2018. So, are you telling me between 2018 and 2025, Charlie Kirk's mind didn't change? Clearly, he did invite Ben Shapiro. Charlie Kirk had a big platform. He didn't need Ben Shapiro in any way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? So where are the text messages of Charlie Kirk in 2025 disparaging Ben Shapiro to Candace Owens? Does she have those text messages? I submit to you, she doesn't. Because if she did, she would have brought those. Okay? And that's why she's just clinging on to the text messages before Candace Owens was Mrs. Farmer and before Erica Kirk came in the picture as Mrs. Kirk. That's all she has. We want the things now. Trust and believe, Did I do some stupid things in 2018? Yes, a bit. You know what I mean? Do I want to be judged by what I did in 2018 in 2025? Sorry, guys, no. I don't want you guys to judge me by what I was doing in 2018. I can tell that for right now, okay? I want you guys to judge me about now, not the stuff I did in 2018, okay? So, but once again, it's Candace. She doesn't care about all that. But be that as it may, we do know, while she was saying all those things, she still went ahead and go worked for Ben Shapiro up until what? I think in 2024, right? That's when she left. Because after, she was still there when October 7 happened. So this woman, I'm sorry, it's very difficult to trust her when she's up to all this. Okay? So this is this is what we get with Lady Candace. So now Candace has shifted gears. What's her name? Came back and called her out. So now she's clapping back at Allie Beth Stuckey. Because I think Allie Beth Stuckey was also trying, because she's friends with Candace Owens. After this, I don't think they're friends anymore, okay? She tried to just to talk about Candace Owens in the general terms, just to tell people to know conspiracy, what is truth whatsoever. But she realized, no, this train ain't stopping. So she came out and then she spoke. So now Candace is not having it, is responding back to Allie Beth Stuckey. So we are here for it all, guys. Okay? Once again, I'm glad that she has done that. But these are the things that I always say, okay? When you have your friends, not all your friends should be platformed. She has her own platform. But hey, she was cool with Candace, and now here you are. Oh boy, we are in trouble. But anyway, let's take a listen. Okay, here we go, guys.
Then there were these compounding lies, okay? Obviously, last week, we watched Ben press Megan on stage. Very strange to see him do something like that, to see him just lie and try to pressure her with the lie. And it was also on the day that it was announced that this podcast was #1 globally. I responded on my show with the truth, showed you screenshots of what Charlie had said, told you honestly that he had kind of prevented Charlie from coming up. And that was certainly how Charlie felt. And then some guy on named Frank McCormick on X started circulating. And then, of course, I instantly made a trend that I forged the text messages, that I just made them up. And I was just going to be so risky and throw these text messages up and just lie as if I wasn't going to get debunked quickly. Anyways, this is what he wrote on there. Candace Owens recently posted what she claims are more text messages from Charlie Kirk. He asked ChatGPT to analyze. Look at this next one. If you want to skip over to the next, he analyzed the bubble design, the profile placement, the header layout, font, spacing, color balance. And he discovered that these were digitally fabricated. Bro, you didn't have to do any of that. You could just ask me to show you the messages. I show messages on this show. Like, I'm happy to show you guys this live. So just to give you the receipts here. Wait, Skylar, can you tell me in my ear, what did the message even say? Because I can look it up. Just give me like a sentence. Okay, keep going. Okay, hold on.
So this is how
populating Avis, because the way that it's spaced. Can you give me the sentence after that? There we go. That will work. We just have to treat him like noise. Are there typos in that? Here we go. I found it. There we go. A little bit of typos. There we go. Okay, here we go, guys. Just to show you this, just looked it up on my phone. These are not made up text messages. You probably want to see the date here. You can see the time sliding. Hold on. We did not make up these messages. Okay. Iron sharpens iron. It's not a dominance partnership. Each hand washes the other. It is what Christ talked about as true partnership, reliant yet separate. None other dominant. Of course, there is struggle, disagreement, but each side gets stronger and sharper because of the other. This is us describing our partnership. These are just real. Like, what an absolute nonsense to think that I would make up text messages. Like, it's just such a nonsense. I don't even know what would be the point of that. What would be the point of that? Okay. I was very clear at the beginning of this entire thing. No fakeness and no gayness. I ask that if you didn't get along with Charlie, you don't think that you could just drop $1 million and then rewrite history. Okay. You might have money. We have truth. That's what's on our side. Also, to build upon that, I saw a clip of Allie Stuckey, who I very much like. I've been clear with. I very much like Allie Stuckey. I'm very surprised she's working with Alyssa Cordova, but she's also in very rare form. I don't know what's driving that. And she kind of, I guess, I don't know when this live was taken, presumably over the last week. I just saw it circulating. Said to people that we shouldn't be asking these questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Anyways, I'm not going to put words in her mouth. Listen to Allie Stuckey.
I'm just really tired of some of y'all not thinking. I really am. You say that you're seeking truth and asking questions, but you're actually just outsourcing your critical thinking and your question asking to someone else, and you're never really asking questions. You're never saying, does that make sense? Or what could be the other side of that story? Or what is the alternative explanation for that? Or are these two things actually connected by evidence? Or does it just sound compelling? This is not a Netflix series. It's not an Agatha Christie novel. You're not watching a whodunit movie. These are people's real lives. And if you were implicating a real person in a murder plot, you better be 100% sure that it is true and backed by hard evidence. Think. Turn on your brain. The thoughts we think and the words we say not only affect real people's lives, but they carry weight in eternity. We are responsible for these things. I'm going to take that seriously, but you should too. Look, y'all, I don't even want... I've just been wrestling with this so much over the past few weeks. I don't want the drama. I don't have the time and energy that it takes to go through. To make all of these claims first is incredible, but then to go through and debunk all of these claims, I don't have that time. I don't have that energy. I don't have that capacity. I don't.
Look, Allie, I just think she should take a break. Like, I genuinely didn't even know she was going through it like this. Like, I don't think we asked her for any assistance at all, actually. I did all the work, and people sent me stuff, and then we put together a timeline. And here's what I want to say, because you're saying it's real life. It was Charlie's real life. Allie, that was Charlie's real life when you saw him sitting there and he got shot. That was his real life. So I feel like that's the part you're missing because you're so worried about the surrounding cast of characters who have been literally caught lying. They lied. That's why we're here. Okay. We didn't just randomly pluck people.
So, I mean, one thing you have to give to Candace Owens, she's very good at making herself be the truth bearer, so to speak. So you have to pay attention to the words that she's using and to the narrative that she's weaving. Most of her audience, they don't see it. Okay. She does this they call flood the zone. So she gives a whole bunch of information that makes you assume, you're going to assume, because she's giving you all this information, which means she's telling the truth, which means there's something there. But literally, it's just a nothing bag. Okay? So notice, instead of her critiquing what Allie Beth Stuckey is saying, she just play Allie Beth whatever clip and just be like, oh, you're going through it. You need to take a break. That's not the point, Candace. You know what I mean? And this happens to be your friend. She is saying, if you're going to accuse people like you have, you need to produce evidence. Candace Owens has not produced evidence, guys. She is saying that, for example, Mike McCoy lied. If you ask her, what is the lie that Mike McCoy lied? She's not going to show you because there's nothing. She cannot prove to you Mike McCoy lied. Mike McCoy said he was on the phone, called Erica Kirk. Candace does not believe that's what happened. Because in her mind, that's not how one behaves. Erica Kirk came and confirmed, yes, Mike McCoy called me. Instead of her leaving that, moving on, no, that's not what happened. So, because these people did not behave the way Candace Owens wants them to behave, which means they're lying. That's all. And then making matters worse, Mike McCoy, dad is Rob McCoy, who happens to be the spiritual pastor to Charlie Kirk. Forget about it. So what is Candace Owens doing? Candace Owens is jealous of Turning Point USA. Because the way she left Turning Point USA, it was just due to circumstances. It was just like, she has to go. In her mind, if she was still there right now, she would have been the CEO. So now that she's not there, the people who are going to benefit from Turning Point USA, according to Candace Owens, they were not there to build Turning Point USA. After all, it was Charlie and Candace Owens. So Turning Point belongs to Candace Owens. So if Candace Owens cannot have Turning Point USA, trust and believe nobody else will have it. So she's going to drag all these people without evidence and nothing else. It could have helped. And the problem is, right now, let's just grant. Let's say Candace Owens happens to find real evidence that implicates one of these people. Guess what? She's cried wolf way too many times. Nobody's going to take her serious. Nobody's going to pay her no mind. And this is what I say. Since you have all this information, right? You have this evidence that Mike McCoy lied, all these other people, right? Where is the police report? Has Candace Owens filed a police report reporting Mike McCoy, Rob McCoy, Andrew Covert, Alex Clark, George Hammer, Seth Dillon, the Egyptians, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, Ivanka and Jared Kushner. Who else do we have, guys? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Has she filed a police report of any of these people? Where is her police report? At the bare minimum, it'll be like, you know what, here's, I filed a police report. The police are not investigating. The police are giving me a runaround. Maybe she'll have something. But as I'm speaking to you right now, Candace Owens has not filed any police report. So if this woman is serious about finding who killed Charlie Kirk, doing this investigation, where is the police report? Which person has been indicted of all these other people that I've mentioned to you guys? Because according to her, it's not Tyler Robinson. So we have these people waiting for Turning Point USA, and yet these people, they have blood on their hands. Shouldn't she raising the alarm to warn Erica Kirk, to warn everybody, or to warn any of us that we are talking, sitting next to people who deleted Charlie Kirk? You see where this is going? If she's serious about this issue. So it's just like, woman, oh my goodness, she needs to sit down. I know. As John MacArthur says, go home. Go home. Okay. She needs to go home. That's where she belongs right now. Okay, Silky Way. Candace knows how to twist things. Oh, yes. She is the master manipulator. That you got to give it to her. So right now, instead of her, and even Allie says, the things that you say, right? Because she claims to be a Catholic. You cannot just be accusing people. Even the Bible commands the same thing. You cannot bring an accusation. You're supposed to have 2 or 3 witnesses. Who are Candace Owens' witnesses to all these allegations, to all these charges that she's bringing forth? She has nothing. She has nada. So just because she says something that can appear to be true, that doesn't make it to be true. Remember, these things are still under investigation. They're going to go to court, and these people are going to be cross-examined. They're going to be on the witness stand. So it's not like they're just going to be boom, it's Tyler Robinson. No, they need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And remember, he's facing death penalty. So the decision has to be unanimous. The stuff that Candace Owens is doing, honestly speaking, to me, if I was a defense attorney of Tyler Robinson, I am bringing Candace Owens on the stand. Literally, I'm bringing her on the stand. Oh, Mrs. Farmer, you said you have this, you have that. Yeah, she'll make a very good witness to cross-examine. What evidence do you have that? The dreams? How can we verify the dreams? You see? So she appeals to that type of authority where nobody can investigate. So that's the danger that we have with this lady. Okay? So let's see how she talks about this Allie Beth Stuckey. Here we go, guys.
Up from obscurity. Okay, these are people who said he had blood on him. He's amazing. He was so amazing, but he walked away from Charlie as he was bleeding out. His real life. That was his real life. Okay, so that's what's on the line right here. Is he's not here anymore? Maybe you're not worried about him, but I am. I'm actually worried, and I want to know what happened to Charlie Kirk. Okay, and why I feel like you and so many Christian Zionists just kind of wanted to turn him into a ghost, like, you know, Charlie the friendly ghost, and are not interested at all. And if you're looking for real life Agatha Christie stuff, in real life, people's necks don't stop 30-06 bullets. In real life, that's all I'm saying. In real life, when you spend millions of dollars on security, on your security detail, they don't have you sitting like a sitting duck and forget to have an ambulance behind you. In real life, I worked for Turning Point USA, and I know what does not make sense in terms of the timeline of how this event came together. And in real life, if somebody suspects you in a murder for any reason whatsoever, and you can put something out publicly that will clarify a fact that isn't correct, if you say it's not correct, you would do that. You wouldn't hide. Enforce.
So if we suspect that Candace Owens had something to do with Charlie Kirk, given that she wasn't there, how come Candace wasn't there at UVU? Yeah? After all, she's just showing up now after Charlie Kirk is gone. Where was Candace Owens in 2019 to be making these videos? 2020, 2023. Why now? So is she also a suspect? So is Candace Owens going to come out and clear her name that she had nothing to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk? So the same thing that she's saying can be played back to her. Can't it? So she claims she's the only one who's so concerned about Charlie Kirk. So Erica Kirk, who happens to be the wife of Charlie Kirk, is not concerned. So let's not forget, Candace Owens is married to George Farmer. Which married woman fights like this for someone else's husband? You tell me. If you have a husband and your husband is fighting like this for someone else's wife,
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Exactly. Okay, so no. Oh, Charlie Milner, what are you saying? What investigation we still have not learned? What happened to Charlie Kirk? This is what we are hoping, that maybe today will be the day where she's going to drop it. But remember, she already told us that she has information, but she's hiding it. She doesn't want to bring it all out because it wouldn't be a smart thing for her to do. And yet Charlie Kirk was her best friend. Hey, guys, we are in trouble. Okay, let's watch some more.
Seconds, I would say, the reason why I was on the phone with so-and-so had nothing to do with anything. So people are following their instincts because they should, but I just want to remind you, because it bothers me, that was Charlie's real life. Okay? That was Charlie's real life, Allie. Right? Move on for that. See, you're stressed out. I'm stressed out too, to be honest with you. And we're not the only people that are stressed out, because apparently Grok is stressed out because it can't keep up with the lies that are being spread about me. So he had some sort of a software crash out. This was him being like, I'm tired, and sitting in his car. I'm just going to show you what Grok said at the top here. No, I want the Grok.
Oh, so that's stuff that was going on Twitter. Okay, that was a whole bunch of stuff that was going on Twitter. So right now, to be quite honest, because she's the #1 podcaster around the world, this validates Candace Owens, because she feels like, now I'm sitting on top of the world, so I'm actually doing the right thing. So she's not going to stop. She's not going to stop. Now, she has decided to defend Brett Cooper, okay? But I don't know why she felt the need to defend Brett Cooper, because the stuff that Brett Cooper was defending is just like the people you're defending, that's what they say for themselves. So let's take a look at this real quick, guys. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Welcome. All right, we continue on this rabbit hole, okay? All right, here we go.
Israel first is a cancer cell. It is a cancer cell, left or right, to everything and everyone that wants to play around with it. It is a radical psychosis that has manifested itself within both parties. And it is so radical that, in case you missed it, yesterday, they started attacking Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper, 23-year-old, bubbly Brett Cooper. She makes the majority of her videos dedicated to pop culture. Yes, she covers things that are, I would say, mainstream politics, nothing too daring, never speaks about Israel. And she did her part, by the way. The Zionists wanted her to do her part and encourage New Yorkers to get out and vote against Mamdani. But it's not enough, of course, because this is a radical ideology. You give them 100%. You even say one critique, and they don't want to break bread with you. They want to destroy you. And that's what they want to do to Brett Cooper.
So now, don't forget, this lady has been on this quest, right? Everything, it will be Zionist or Israel, because she does have hatred of Israel. She does have hatred of the Jewish people for no reason at all. So she's been coming hard at Zionists, so to speak, okay? So anything to her, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. But she pretends like she's just asking questions. So to me, just like, I don't throw this term like this person is anti-Semite, but this lady has done everything to prove herself that she is one, okay? So let's see what she said about the Cooper girl.
Because she watched the totally deranged Tucker is Not MAGA Republican Jewish Coalition event, and she agreed with the majority of sensible people that demands to censor speech, to deplatform, is not only childish, it's also ineffective. It's also antithetical to what it means to be a conservative. So I'm going to let you listen to what Brett Cooper said about Randy Fine, and let me know if you're just so offended that you think that she needs to be canceled and destroyed. Take a listen to what Brett Cooper said.
Like Randy Fine, if you don't know who he is, he's a representative from Florida. He's the same guy who bragged about not washing his hands after he had a handshake with Netanyahu. He's repeatedly introduced bills to criminalize anti-Semitism, infringing upon free speech. I mean, he obviously, I'm sorry to say, but he obviously cares more about Israel than he does, principles like free speech. So, buddy, like, my advice to you, Randy Fine, is just move to Israel at this point. Like, considering you had to go through anger management classes a few years ago, I genuinely think you would probably be happier if you just moved to Israel. And that's what I dig at him. That's just a fact. It's a nudge of encouragement. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be healthy. I think you would be happier if you just moved to Israel. You could be over there singing songs with Mike Huckabee.
Seems like pretty sound advice. Rather than trying to make this country Israel, why don't you just go live in Israel? And here's what she had to say regarding Ted Cruz. Take a listen.
You are so blinded by your ridiculous, insane hatred of Tucker Carlson that you cannot see how irresponsible and hypocritical you are being. I mean, these tweets from Ted Cruz I'm going to read you next are a great example of this. So just a month ago, he tweeted this. He said, "They don't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. Political violence is a left-wing phenomenon. Enough is enough. We need to shut it down." And then in response to Fuentes and Tucker this week, he tweeted this. "Trump's bombing of the Ayatollah's nuclear facilities made the little Nazi mad. Good. So now you're turning around and you're calling somebody that you don't like a Nazi. You're doing this out of blind rage because you're so angry that the conservative base's attitudes are rapidly changing, that Nick Fuentes is getting national attention, and so you have turned around and in response, you are compromising your own values and anger, which is such a dangerous precedent to set. And unfortunately for you guys, yes, the attitudes are changing. So again, it makes sense why this group is incredibly frantic."
Okay, so that was Brett Cooper, okay? And beknownst to her, just like, okay, so all this, right, is just not happening out of a vacuum, right? There has been this mega civil war. Why? Tucker Carlson platform Nick Fuentes. The issue is not platforming Nick Fuentes. The issue was not pushing back at Nick Fuentes. Like, okay, you've had all these other people. How come you didn't ask tough questions to Nick Fuentes? So that was the issue. And if you're just going to welcome Nick Fuentes with open arms without asking him questions, there is a problem there, which is a fair thing, okay? So this is where all these things are coming from. So, unbeknownst to, what's her name? Brett Cooper, okay? This is Nick Fuentes. He actually calls himself that. That's not a lie. So when people are saying like, oh, you know, that's what he calls himself, I cannot play a video. There was actually a video here. He's actually doing the whole thing. You know how it is on this platform.
It's Franco Friday.
Oh.
Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday.
You heard that? Okay. Because I cannot play because there's cursing and everything. So that's him there. Actually saying it's, you know, it's Friday, you know, the whole thing. This platform doesn't like stuff like that. So, Brett Cooper, like, okay, if you're going to defend people, that does not help you. The people that you're defending, this is who they claim to be. Until they renounce themselves, until they say otherwise, for now, we have to believe what tell us. So, Brett thought like she was dunking it on Ted Cruz, dunking it like, oh, you said this about Ted Cruz. It's not true about this guy. This is what he said. As a matter of public record, it's there. Okay? So, and this was what? In fact, this is, and this happened in June 2025. So he hasn't walked this back as far as Fuentes is concerned. He doubles down. You know? He doubles down. So the issue is just like, okay, if people want to have this Israel and America aid, all those things, they can actually have a constructive conversation. But most of the times, these people are coming on the table. They don't want to debate in earnest, okay? You say something, oh, you are what? You are a Zionist. So it just defeats the purpose. So I was just like, okay, so Brett Cooper, you felt like you're saying something over here. Unbeknownst to you, the people you're defending, I don't think needed to be defended in this situation. But this is what happens, right? When you just don't want to do anything. So then Candace decided even to double down in defending this Brett Cooper girl. So watch this. Now she's out here in the territory of witchcraft. Okay? Take a look at this. Okay?
Gen Z. So you would think that the good thing to do here would be to listen, to break bread, for someone to reach out and invite her onto a show so they can talk about it, so they can hear their voices. You might recall Charlie Kirk did this. He sat down with Gen Z and said, I'm trying to tell them that they are pushing an entire generation away with their actions. But we know how they responded to Charlie Kirk doing that. They started calling him an anti-Semite. They started squeezing him up into the last moments of his life. They were making financial threats to him. And not just financial threats, they made good on those threats. People like Bob Shillman took $2 million away from him because he let Tucker Carlson hit the stage. They've learned nothing. They've learned nothing. And so rather than trying to...
Oh, so she's even twisting the things over here, okay? You know, criticizing Israel, that's not somebody being anti-Semite, okay? So because there's so much things that are actually going on, it's very difficult to even have this conversation, okay? But as far as the donor taking away is $2 million, there's nothing wrong with that. You might not like it. When people are giving you money, it's pay to play. That's just how things work. So if those people say, I'm sponsoring you, I don't want you to bring this person on the stage. If you're receiving the money, then you're agreeing to the terms. If you don't want, then you don't accept the money. So that's on Charlie. If he accepted the money from people, they had a say in his organization. That's just how things work. If you don't want people to have anything to say, then you need to find yourself. Then nobody can tell you else what to do. People might not like it, but hey, man, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's no way that person was going to be funding Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk is out here platforming Tucker Carlson, and these people don't see eye to eye with Tucker Carlson when it comes to ideology. I'll do the same thing. Why would I platform somebody I disagree with ideologically, and then I'm actually funding them? For what reason? It's my money. I can spend it however I want. If I want to fund, but if I don't want to, hey man, I can put my funding. It's his money. But Candace wants to pretend like, oh, these people just decided to pull away money from Charlie Kirk. No, they were giving him the money until he decided to do something else that those donors they don't like. That's just how everything works. Why is Candace Owens pretending like if she will give somebody else money, they can let that person just do whatever else they want to do? You know what I mean? Realistically, that's not you would behave. That's not how I would behave. But she wants to pretend otherwise. So, yeah. We need this Macron case. You know what I mean? They need to have cameras in this Macron case, man. It'll be interesting. All right, let's hear the defense of Cooper.
To reach across and say to Gen Z or to say to Brett Cooper, hey, I'd love to have you on our show, or hey, I'd love for you to meet this person. They're already calling her the white Candace Owens. If you're Aaron Wexler, here's an actual tweet. Okay, white Candace, what is a Nazi then? Like, what? How does that make any sense? Why are you calling Brett Cooper the white Candace? Like, why are you even thinking about the fact?
I think they called her white Candace because she did behave like Candace Owens. I think that's why they called her that. Because I was just like, Brett, if you say something, you know, if Candace says some things, okay, you know, that's true whatsoever. So we're just not going to disagree with somebody just because. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. We don't want people just to cancel people. You know what I mean? There's no point of be canceling people. But we have to be honest. Where is this thing coming from? All this issue started because Tucker platform Nick Fuentes without asking tough questions. It would be a different. After all, Candace Owens did have Nick Fuentes. I didn't hear anybody saying Candace Owens should be cancelled. She did press on Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes didn't even like that interview. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like Nick Fuentes cannot be platformed. Platform him. Just ask appropriate questions. That's all. That's all we ask. Is that too much to ask?
That Brett Cooper is white. Why do we keep seeing this recurring theme of Jewish supremacists constantly having to comment on white people? Like, why does she have to be the white Candace? That's ridiculous. Nothing.
I'm commenting, Candace, in case you haven't noticed. I'm not Jewish.
We don't even have the same ideas. It's completely, she's saying something sensible. But it gets worse. Ted Cruz, who's a pretty sensible guy, comes out and tries to big timer. I don't know how he thought that would land. She's 23 years old. It looks very loserish. Try to big time a 23-year-old with, who are you? Here's what he had to say. I don't know who this angry lady is, but she's missing a key distinction. Fuentes calls himself a Nazi. He has said that Hitler is very cool and Hitler was right and he is on Team Hitler. If you explicitly side with and advocate for Hitler, you are an actual effing Nazi. Like, first off, class it up. We don't need you dropping F-bombs to a 23-year-old. Secondly, trying to big time her and act like you don't know who she is when you have done various things with the Daily Wire, including you were featured in a movie that Brett Cooper starred in at the Daily Wire, Lady Ballers. You're good friends with Michael Knowles. You know fully well who Brett Cooper is. And like, that was a super classless tweet coming from you. Like, what does she have to do? Like, run for president and not win to be recognized on a global scale? Again, doing nothing to bring people over to their cause. And because it's not just about trying to big time people, but you will find that there is this current of just sheer evil that Zionism goes hand in hand with, trying to deconstruct who an individual is very quickly. They began pouring through all of Brett's old content, looking for ways to go after her character. And they came across a clip of her speaking to Sean Ryan last year. Now, before I give you the context of this clip, I want you to listen to it because it will really help you process just how spiritually evil and possessed these people are, okay? This is the tweet that went up, a couple of tweets that went up saying essentially she's a witch. I'm not kidding. This is a real tweet. What a surprise. Brett Cooper and her mom engage in witchcraft. She's not a conservative. I don't care how hard people want to gaslight me about it. Here's another tweet. Brett Cooper, the most recent hero of the woke right, is a secular, nominally religious spiritualist. Her views are inherently unchristian, but that doesn't matter to the woke right as long as she agrees with or permits their hatred of Jews. She's good to go in their book. This is not a Christian movement. Here is the clip they are referring to.
We did all sorts of things. My mom visited mediums right after. I mean, I haven't done that and I kind of want to, but she did. She went to multiple mediums, like one in New York, where you don't tell them or even his assistant like who you are or anything about you, and you go to this hotel room and he would just like sit there. Just like talking about it is so weird. And both her first husband and David popped up.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And we're like, there's a 17-year-old young man here who wants to speak to you. I mean, it was like, I was actually just thinking about this meeting the other day. I was Googling, trying to see if I could find him, and he'd asked her mom the name, because I would love to go just do this. But yeah, she was able to speak to Don, her first husband, to hear from him. She had a miscarriage between the boys, I think, and I'm pretty sure that at one of the medium things, that baby came in, said something.
You know the lights just dimmed behind you twice.
I saw it.
Okay, so now let me properly contextualize the conversation that they're having. It's actually one of the most compelling and moving conversations I've ever seen Brett Cooper have. It's a very powerful episode of the Sean Ryan Show because she tells.
So here is, if you had any doubt that this woman, Candace Owens, claims to be a Catholic, claims to be a Christian, that she is neither. She is not. But she pretends to be one. Notice the reason that she's going to give to you here, okay? So then I'll do my commentary when she's done. But keep your ears open, okay? This is proof that this lady, she's not a Christian, and she's not even by Catholic standards, she's not. So that's why whatever else she's doing here, it's in the quest of validating Candace Owens. She wants to be the winner. She wants to prove everybody else wrong. You know, like this, she's a narcissist. So watch this.
Her backstory, and you realize how much substance she has and the things that she lived through. She lived through a lot. This is somebody who had twin brothers, and one of her twin brothers dropped dead from a heart attack unexpectedly. And when she describes the dynamics of what they went through as a family, meaning things you don't think about, having an identical twin brother, and then one half of you, you're literally a split cell, dies suddenly, what that does to the other twin brother who has to walk by the mirror every day and see his brother, but his brother's actually dead. So her brother that survived, he went crazy. And she takes care of him. He is in a mental hospital. And she's talking about the grieving process that they went through, what her mother went through. Her mother went and visited mediums. Like, may you never know the pain of losing a child. Like, it is something that I can't even fathom, the pain of losing a child and how it rips through her family. And she effectively lost a second brother because of having lost the first brother, and trying to come to terms with the fact that her family's never going to be the same again, how it led to divorce, all of these things. And they're just going, she's a witch. Her mother went to go visit a medium. That's it. Case closed. I mean, what is wrong with these people? I am telling you, there is no way that we can break bread. The Israel First movement, like I said, is a true cancer. It just wants to destroy. There is so much hate. But I also want to be clear that they are growing increasingly dangerous because they are radical at their hearts, because these are the descendants of Bolsheviks. This is not something just to laugh at. It's something to pay attention to, okay? Because if they're going after Brett Cooper in this demonic of a way, someone who's just a bubbly girl who speaks mostly about pop culture, and now they're trying to dig up content and say that she's a witch, so we're supposed to drown her, burn Brett Cooper at the stake, then where does that put the rest of us? And their rhetoric is getting dangerous. They're saying another 9/11 is coming. I'm going to tell you guys about that in a little bit. Don't go away.
So this is the problem with her. She does not want to seek to bring clarity, to bring help to the situation, but because she has put herself, I'm going to defend Brett Cooper, I'm Team Brett Cooper. So even if what Brett Cooper says is in contradiction with the scriptures, she is just not going to call it out. But she can't, because she doesn't know the scriptures. So she wouldn't. And she's not a Catholic. She says she's a Catholic in name only. She's not a Christian. Okay? So, yes, the story that Brett Cooper shared, guys, it's heartbreaking. It's sad. It's very, like, oh, wow, if she had a twin, like a twin brother, and you lost that is sad. That is horrible. So we acknowledge that, right? We should be able to acknowledge that. However, just because those things happened to Brett Cooper, it does not negate what the Word of God teaches. So anytime we start going by our feelings, our emotions, it's so easy for us to compromise, because we now, we are the arbiter of truth. Okay? So, over here, let's go. Where are we? All right. So we have, the scripture is clear. Okay? So, for example, Leviticus 19:31. Do not tend to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out and so make yourself unclean by them. I'm the Lord your God. Okay? This is I'm Yahweh, your God. That's what it's saying over here. So this idea of you going to mediums, speaking to the desert, that's necromancy. That's an abomination to God. So it does not stop because Brett Cooper experienced tragedy or the mother experienced tragedy, especially somebody who professes to be a Christian. You see what I'm saying? But even if you're not a Christian, it's an abomination to be consulting mediums to be speaking to the dead. And Candace will have no problem with this issue. Why? She came out, told us that she was speaking to Charlie. Charlie spoke to her, came to her, told her that he was betrayed. So she does believe in these things. So she does not understand why the pushback. Because if she could read her scriptures, she would have known, like, wait a minute, the Bible condemns speaking to the dead. It's just not people's opinions. Okay? It's just not people's opinions. But clearly, we are dealing with somebody who has no clue what this Bible teaches. So she's just going to be all over. Okay? Leviticus 26. If a person turns to mediums and necromancers, whoring after them, I'll set my face against that person and I'll cut him off from among his people. Okay? So you're not going to find anywhere in the scriptures that speaks well of speaking to the dead. It's an abomination. Okay? It's a wrong thing to do. It does not matter how tragic the situation is. The Bible condemns it. And that's it. That settles it. If God says no, that's it. Candace doesn't get to pull on our heartstrings because Brett Cooper suffered this tragedy. No. Candace is the one who told us about Charlie Kirk. Will be like, no, that's not how it works, Candace. Okay? So it's not going to change because it's Brett Cooper. That's not how it works. Because she said it this herself. Candace said it to herself. So it's not like hearsay. This is what they're saying. No. No. So when people are saying what she's doing, that is in the realm of witchcraft, they're correct. Because that's exactly what's happening there. Okay? So Candace could not even articulate that. Just, she's a bubbly 23-year-old and everything else. Yes, a bubbly 23-year-old can be wrong. A bubbly 23-year-old can mislead the audience. She has a whole bunch of people who follow her. So do we want her followers now to be going consulting mediums? So these are the people who don't uphold their platform. Like, you know what, certain things you just don't want to do, say all those other things, because you're going just to mislead people. Because people are just going to follow you. So no, what Brett Cooper said, it's against the scriptures. That's what she did. It was sinful. It was wrong according to the scriptures. So I hope she repents. Candace could have just said that, but no. So just because Brett Cooper is bubbly, this young 23-year-old, that doesn't mean she's not going to be examined. If you're on this platform, you are a fair game. That's just how things work. Okay? She's an adult. She's 23 years old. She's absolutely responsible. She came out on her own, decided to defend whatever, the attack the Nick Fuentes. Nick said himself that he's a Nazi. So why defending Nick Fuentes? He said himself that he's a Nazi. So if anything, defend something else, but not that, because that's what he says. And he prides himself for that. You know what I mean? So that's indefensible. So Brett Cooper came to defend something that's indefensible. Tucker Carlson platforming anybody else without putting their feet to the fire, and yet he does that to everybody else, shows that he's a hypocrite. That's all. That is all we're saying. Candace Owens is out here. We want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. Yes, Candace Owens, let's do that. But you're out here accusing people left and right. You know, this Rob McCoy, you know what I mean? He said, no apostolic reformation. That's not my cup of tea, you know? But I'm not going to be here like, oh, yes, let's get Pastor Rob McCoy simply because he's out there teaching heretical stuff. No. If something is true, we're going to uphold the truth. If something is wrong, we're just going to call it that it is wrong. But if Candace could just operate with a little bit of that, I'm telling you, it'll be better, okay? So those are the things. But guys, there is more where this came from, okay? But everything has to come to an end. Shut up, Milda. What are you saying? Candace Owens, who's trying to get the truth when the feds are lying? Well, I mean, this is, guys, no, let's do this one. This is classic. Okay, did I take it off? We need to watch this again. Okay, I'm sorry. We need to watch this again. Because I was just like, finally, somebody who just, you know.
All lies will be exposed.
Yes,
that's all.
I think this girl exposed Lady Candace, okay? So let's watch this again, okay? Okay, all right, here we go, guys, okay? This one, enjoy this one, okay? All right, let's go. Let's take a look at this. Okay, here we
Charlie
go.
Kirk was. When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
That was boom! Candace Owens. She had no clue, no idea. She did not read it. But she's out here parading herself like she knows what she's talking about. Man, I was just like, that's classic. Okay?
Indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law
I have
enforcement?
leaks.
Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson has...
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world and we know how stories get shut down. And
I thought that girl did a good job on Candace. Because she had no way out. She had to answer. She had to respond. But notice what she even said. She says like, oh, I have sources from both sides. The same person who tells us she doesn't trust the feds. So she trusts her sources, who happens to be feds. Does that make sense? On both sides, which sides? So yeah, just like, Lady Candace. Stop it, stop it, stop it. But we are here.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're going to do. Candace Owens is the only one who is trying to get answers, by the way. The reason why she's fighting so hard, that was her best friend. Yes, this is what she said. That was her best friend, and she was nowhere to be found at the memorial. She was nowhere to be found to do Charlie Kirk video. Nowhere to be found in any of the recent pictures. But everything is 2018. In case she doesn't know, we're in 2025. But it is what it is, as they say, right? But yeah. Still get away, of course. She's the Queen Twister, Queen Candace. Okay? What a fitting name, yes. So it's trust me, bro. Trust the Queen, okay? It's trust the Queen. Whatever else she says, trust the Queen. All right, guys. You guys are simply the best. Yes, guys. That is for you guys. I do appreciate your viewership. Thank you for being here. We have to leave it there for now. Stay tuned. More coming for sure. Let us continue this conversation in the comment section. Make sure you're a subscriber. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We have to leave it there. Stay tuned. More coming this week. Until next time, remember to be in the know. Thank you.